Hi, this is Dr. Laurence Tham and from Living in Wellness and Belridge Chiropractic. I have brought a good friend, like a brother of the brotherhood.
A
Uh,
brother. A brother.
he's obviously Dr. Damian Kristof. I'm sure you've heard a lot about him. He's been on our show before. He's my co-host, one of the co-hosts of the Wellness Guys, the #1 Australian podcast in the health category on iTunes. And I thought I'd bring him on board on a video blog here to teach us about breakfast. Someone, I guess my patients, love, to tell me that they don't eat breakfast. I mean, the amount of people that come up to me,
Really?
yeah, they're just so proud that I don't eat breakfast. And there's so many patients like that. And I'm just saying, you can't do that. It's one of the most important meals of the day. And, but sometimes they just don't listen. So I thought I'd bring on the next best thing, which is you, to tell us about breakfast.
Have me for breakfast. LT.
Yeah. So,
LT, gotta love it.
yeah. So listen, Damien, let's talk to people why breakfast is so important.
Well, there's a couple of things, LT. Firstly, thanks for having me on this call. It's great because you know how much I love to share this sort of information, and I'm looking forward to being in Perth again soon. So
Yeah.
hopefully that doesn't timestamp this call, but I just I get really excited about sharing this sort of stuff. But one of my passions is breakfast, and the word breakfast comes from just doing that. It's breaking fast, and so when you break your fast, you essentially take your body out of a fasting state, which you've entered into after being in a fast since your evening meal all the way through to when you wake up in the morning or to when you have your next meal. And the benefit of breaking fast is that you stimulate your metabolism and you get your body cranking to actually burn through fuel and then generate energy. And many people go, oh, well, I don't need to eat breakfast, like you were just saying then, LT. And they access their energy through things that they've stored or hormones that they secrete. And many people start the day with a coffee, and they kickstart their adrenal glands, and they start running on adrenal stress or adrenal energy, and that's hugely detrimental to the health, hugely inflammatory. And for those people who have risk of cardiovascular disease or certain types of cancer or even type 2 diabetes, which is, let's face it, most of the population, if you start the day in stress, which, you start the day with adrenaline and you're running only on adrenaline, or you start the day with caffeine, which stimulates adrenaline, then you're actually perpetuating and increasing your risk of one of three of those, or one of any of the three of those diseases. So it's hugely concerning. But that aside, just the normal day-to-day sort of running of things. If you don't have breakfast, you will tend to overeat in your other meals. You'll overeat your lunch and you'll overeat your dinner, most certainly. Many people say they wake up feeling nauseous or they wake up feeling full still. They're not hungry. That's because they either ate too late the night before, or they ate a meal that they couldn't digest, or they ate too much food. And so as a result of maldigestion or excess food in their gut, they wake up feeling not refreshed in the morning. So there's a whole lot of strategies around that you need to kind of sort out. But when you break your fast, you should have fuel going into the body so that your body can then create some energy. And that's a very interesting concept to discuss.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things too as well, people, I love that break fast thing because, some last meal, say it's 7 o'clock at night time, and if someone who doesn't eat breakfast, they probably won't eat till 12 o'clock in, the next day. I mean, that's, a 17-hour gap of no food. And the only thing they might have had is a couple of, maybe 2 cups of coffee. And it's just shooting their body with, high adrenaline. Well, let's talk about those people who actually do eat breakfast. Now, a typical breakfast for most Australians and most people around the world is, a cereal. But unfortunately, the cereals that they would have, they would say, no, I eat a pretty good cereal. They would have, maybe a high carbohydrate type of cereal, I don't know, maybe like a Nutri-Grain type of cereal, or, mostly grain-based cereal, or even maybe porridge. Talk about why that may be good or may not be good. Tell us why. What do you think about that?
Look, Laurence, a lot of people do start the day with cereal, and marketing is very, very clever. And many people think that because it's light and easy, or it's not too light, not too heavy, it's just right, or maybe it's high in fiber and so it gets the bowels moving, or maybe it's the stuff that Iron Man eat. These sorts of things, they conjure up emotion and it's emotional purchase. And we've discussed this in the Wellness Guys before, where there becomes almost a opioid-like response to sugar. And we know that when you eat excess carbohydrate, it's kind of like an opioid kind of feeling. You feel fantastic eating excess carbohydrate initially. And many people start the day by eating high carbohydrate items such as toast and jam or toast and honey, toast and marmalade, for example, or a cereal like we've just mentioned. And with all the sugar that they eat in that particular meal, they get a good kickstart. Like they feel, immediately they feel fantastic. But generally what you tend to find is that meals that are rich in carbohydrate don't tend to last in the gastrointestinal system for a long time, and it's a short supply of fuel in a large big dump. And so this is where the whole glycemic index and the glycemic load discussion can come into it, where you have a large amount of carbohydrate in a particular meal, and it's low in fiber and low in protein, then the glycemic load, so the glycemic index of that meal might be very, very high. And so the initial response of sugar going into the body can be enormous, and the result with that will be some kind of hunger pang later on, maybe half an hour to an hour later, or an energy crash, an energy dip, which may then result in the need or the requirement to go and have some kind of beverage to increase your energy, like a coffee or a tea.
Or Red Bull or something like that.
Or Red Bull, morning tea of Red Bull. Or, of course, then, potentially go and, crave or eat some more carbohydrate mid-morning again, and then you kind of set yourself up with a cascade of consuming more carbohydrates as a side effect of having a high carb breakfast. The challenge is that your body requires protein, fat and carbohydrate with every single meal, and with every single meal your body is actually looking for all of those macronutrients. So it's looking for protein, it's looking for fat, it's looking for carbohydrate. It's not just looking for one or the other of any of those three things. And we know that because the pancreas isn't designed to pump out enzymes to break down Nutrigrain or to break down Just Right or to break down cornflakes. The pancreas sends out enzymes to break down protein and fat and carbohydrate with every single meal and with every single thought of food. So the pancreas works on a response. It's a neurological response that goes down via the spinal cord from the brain in an unsubluxated spine. This happens very, very efficiently, and it becomes, that message is so important that we can't ignore it. We need to have protein, fat and carbohydrate with every meal, and in particular a richer protein meal for breakfast to really bump up our energy supply and our fuel management.
I mean, obviously the breakfast is so important, isn't it? It's not just it provides us energy, but it also gives us the energy for our bodies to heal. If you're giving your body just pure sugar or high carbohydrates, your body's not going to be able to take that and give you energy, but also take that energy and actually rebuild the cells that you destroyed through the day too as well. So especially for those people who might be having some chronic low back pain or those type of things, the body's trying to heal, and if you don't give it good food source, then you're going to have some trouble. I mean, the classic example of this was when we did the Wellness Guys show several times now to, a couple of different audiences where we had, we had a bowl of Nutrigrain, for the audience member, and he would eat, he or she would eat that bowl of cereal at the beginning of the show. And honestly, by about 45 minutes into it, we check on how that person was, and that guy was, every single time we've done the show 3 or 4 times, he was gone. You can see his eyes drooping, and he was falling asleep. And while everybody else is wide awake and being entertained by us, because we're such funny guys, of course. But it's amazing to me that people think they're getting energy. They're getting an energy. Quick hit though, 45 minutes to an hour maybe max, and they're going to crash. And that's why they go to work with full of energy, but then they just start dipping down. And we're sending kids into schools, with all this high sugar, and they're, energetic for about half an hour, right? And then they start crashing.
Or the daydream, or they're disruptive.
Yeah, well, they can't absorb information. They can't learn that way. So, what we want to do is try to teach people to say that you need to have a really good breakfast. Now, good breakfast is not what marketing has been pumped to you. Good breakfast is what you said. You need to have the proteins, you need to have the fat, and you also need the carbohydrates, a mixture of all three. So, you designed a cereal. I love your cereal, and, I think I've been, my whole family eats it every single day. It's part of our staple, what we do. Why is it, tell us, why did you design it in the first place, and why is it so important for us to consume something like that?
Well, mate, thank you. I'm glad that I know that Karen and the family, I know that you guys eat forage, and I love that. It's great, and it makes me feel fantastic. I love it that Kai calls it Damo seeds. I love it. It's absolutely fantastic. Right. It's the cutest thing ever. I love that sort of. It's great. It's a feel-good story. So thank you. I designed it originally, like the original formula, which is what you see in the forage bag. I designed for a television show to assist people with managing their sugar levels. And when you manage your sugar levels, a whole host of things can happen. Now, if you manage your sugar levels appropriately, one, you'll get better energy distribution through the day. The other thing that will happen if you manage your sugar levels is you'll decrease your inflammatory processes within the body, and that's a good thing. So, if you decrease your inflammatory processes in the body, then you decrease your risk of certain types of diseases, which we talk about in the Power of Food LT. So, when we do the Power of Food next in your city, then we'll talk more about that. But the other thing is that when you manage your glucose levels, many people actually lose weight. And when I did the CV show, people try and lose weight, and the subsequent result was that when they ate this cereal, they were able to manage their weight more efficiently. So they didn't store as much fat. In fact, most people lost fat, and accompanied with other foods, high protein style eating with good quality carbohydrates and good quality fats, they would repair their bodies from a lot of the damage that they've done in the past. But one of the reasons why I put together some puffed stuff with a lot of raw stuff is to try and get the textures that most people be eating in their normal breakfast cereals, which is the puffs, but in an organic form, because they're all organic, these grains that I use, in a low glycemic index form, so high fiber, low carbohydrate, and then mix it with some foods that are rich in natural intelligence, for example, raw almonds and some raw pepitas, raw sunflower seeds. And when I mean natural intelligence, these are things that still give life. So we know that if we plant the pepitas or we plant the sunflower seeds, we can actually grow another plant from them. So they're highly nutritious, they're very, very good for you, and they contain this natural intelligence concept, which again we explore in the Power of Food. So we'll talk about that in greater detail on that. Then just to make it just a little bit sweet, because we do like a little bit of sweetness, and many people go for sweet things as their bowl of happiness. It's amazing what a block of chocolate is. It's basically a block of happiness, and many people buy a block of chocolate because it gives them that sensation. That sweet sensation has an enormous effect chemically within the brain. It actually triggers happiness. And so we don't need a lot of sugar to get that sweetness. A cranberry, which is very, very low sugar but very, very sweet, has the ability to trigger that happiness. And so I put some cranberries in there, so you get a really nice balance of protein, fat, and carbohydrate, and that little sweet burst every now and then, just to really satisfy the taste buds. And people comment on how tasty the cereal is, but what I feel proud of is the mix of protein, fat, and carbohydrate that we've got in there, especially if you put it with a full fat yogurt and you put it with your choice of milk and you put some fresh fruit on it. You've got the perfect breakfast, really. It's an absolutely wonderful breakfast. One thing I want to say, though, LT, is that what's really important for children is not lots of protein or lots of carbohydrate. It's actually lots of fat. And children, because they're learning and they need lots and lots of fat, just running through their bloodstream to enhance their nervous system, they do worse if they do low fat. So you never want to encourage your children to have low fat milk or low fat yogurt or low fat cheese or low fat anything. It really should be full fat stuff while their brain's developing. It's so important for them. It's the carbohydrates that cause the problem. So they're eating lots of protein, lots of good quality fats like your nuts and your seeds, and good quality oils like your coconut oil, which we talk about a lot. Then they'll do very, very well. Their brain will be sharper. Their intelligence will be better.
It's such an amazing thing. For what I do is I add a little bit to your cereal, is that I add a little bit of fish oil, my daily intake of fish oil into my cereal as well, into the kids' cereal, because obviously the fish oil gives you that really omega-3 fat that's really great for the brain development. And you add that to the cereal and mix it with the yogurt, you can't taste it, so, which is great, and the cereal is happiness cereal full of nice energy, which is great. It's so tasty, and so we've had tasting in our practice for a while now, and people absolutely love it. I have people just loving the taste of it, and it's just because it's just got a really good mixture. So for all those of you who've never tried it, please come up for a tasting. We got tastings coming up in the next couple of weeks at the practice, and so if we're not doing it feel free to ask. We'll definitely give you some samples to take home and try it out. So it's Forage is the name of the cereal. It's fantastic. There's going to be other brands that are coming out that I'm aware of coming in later on this year. So I'm looking forward to
other cereals coming out, not other brands.
Sorry, other cereals within the brand of right.
That's right. Well, we've got the porridge. The porridge is now out. That's available in Western Australia now as well. Yeah, so the porridge is out. The Bircher will be out in a few weeks' time, which will be great. And then there's a kids version that will come out probably closer to Christmas. So, there's some amazing stuff happening and very, very exciting stuff happening.
Yeah, I'm excited to see the packaging for the kids cereal.
Well, there's some familiar faces on that one, LT.
That's right. That's right.
We can probably we can share the secret. Do you think we can share the secret?
I think we can share the secret.
So. One of the cutest things for me is seeing little kids run around, and I love little Kai. I love Laurence's daughter, and I love my boy Jackson, and I love Brett, the other wellness guy. We love his little boy Tom, and so what we managed to do is get a cartoon picture, like a cartoon designed around Kaya, Jackson, and Tom. And that's going onto the kids' forage packet, which is it's beautiful.
It's amazing me, man. It's touched my heart when you're able to do that for put that in the packaging. So it's fantastic. So thank you for that. So I'm really looking forward to that packaging coming out and seeing that every single day in the practice. So
can you imagine Kaya? Yeah. Kaya's gonna be so excited.
Oh, that's me. Listen, Damian, thank you so much for your time. Thanks for explaining to everybody the importance of breakfast and what to do. And I look forward to people trying out your cereal because it's one of the best things that's out there. Is probably the only thing that I can recommend for anybody in terms of a cereal brand. That people should have every single day. So we're looking forward to having you up in Perth. We're definitely going to have to get you on the stage and have all our clients listen to you. So we'll organize that. So for those of you watching this video, don't worry, it's coming up soon later on this year. We'll get that organized. Damian's flying around the world all the time, so he's hard to nail down, but he has made a commitment that he'll be coming to Perth later on in the year. So all right. So as always, we'll see you into the next video, and make sure you check out Forage cereal at the Bowers Chiropractic, which is one of only few places where Forage is actually sold in WA. So, all right. Thanks, Damian, for your time. Take care, man.
Thanks, Laurence.
That's it.